Hey everybody, welcome back to Grant and Marissa.
We've spent an unforgettable week on Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas.
So come along as we share the highs, the lows, and whether the world's largest cruise ship lived up to the hype.
Good morning.
Debatable if it's a good morning. It's 7:45 a.m. Today we were supposed to, as you can see, go to Coco Cay. Perfect day, Bahamas.
We were literally about to walk out the door because I think gangway was supposed to be down at 8 a.m.
No, it was supposed to be down at 7:30.
Yeah.
And the captain came on, which I think is the first time this entire cruise, and said that it was, because it's still really bad weather. It's really windy, the sea's really rocky, and he said it was, they could not get the ship up to the pier. It was too difficult. And they said the water is splashing over the pier. It's too dangerous for people to walk on it. So he canceled Coco Cay, and we are having another sea day. We're pretty bummed. We had reservations for Hideaway Beach, which is the adults only club. We were super stoked about that, even with the bad weather.
Yeah.
We were still gonna go party. Yeah, so there goes our plans for the day. Once again, we need to figure out what we're going to do on a ship without a solarium on a sea day with bad weather. So...
Oh, well, not a perfect day.
Not Coco Cay. Yeah. So that's this morning's update. Good morning. Welcome to the vlog. What are we going to do?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
We're going to get a refund.
Yeah, maybe we spend all our beach club money at the casino.
Maybe.
Or get some more merch or something.
Yeah, we'll see. So, yeah, we're going to go figure out what the heck we're doing.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't planned C-Day, so it's not like they have C-Day activities planned either. They're going to have to, like, pull an
It's like
itinerary
bare minimum
together
stuff for
real
people
quick.
that don't get off the ship.
Yeah, so, yeah, this is going to be interesting.
Yep.
Hey, everybody.
Hey everyone! Alright, so we've had a pretty good day considering our Coco Cay was cancelled, right? We had a fun day. We did they added a whole bunch of activities on board. So we watched it was like a weakest link game show. And then we did some Taylor Swift trivia where...
It was Taylor Swift named that tune trivia.
Yeah, we thought we did okay, but then someone literally got one small girl, I think, in her literally
like an 8-year-old.
An 8-year-old got like perfect score. Like,
I will say, I feel like they adapted really well to canceling Coco Cay and pivoting to a sea day.
Yeah.
Like they were clearly very prepared for that.
yeah. But yeah, we didn't do too much like vlogging or anything today because like there wasn't too much to do because we sort of planned to do a Coco Cay video. So we thought we would just instead do a little like review of Icon of the Seas, like talk about our trip and what we liked, what we didn't like. There's definitely some positives which we'll go through first, and there's one or two things I would say are kind of negatives that we didn't really anticipate being like as big a deal as they were, but I think on our cruise they were sort of shown to be. But let's focus on the positives.
Yeah.
Right?
So first off, let's talk about the food.
Yeah.
Because that's easy.
Yeah. Let's do it.
The food's been fantastic. Everywhere we've tried.
Yeah.
So the only specialty dining, we did 2 specialty dining options.
Yeah.
This cruise, we did Pier 7 in Izumi, sushi, not hibachi.
Yep.
Both were fabulous.
Yeah, that were great.
I really enjoyed both.
Yeah, one was sort of a tried and true in Izumi that we knew we kind of enjoyed before, so we did that again, and it lived up to sort of the other ships we've been on. Pier 7 was great too. It was a different concept and a cool restaurant. But then also I think all of the provided food has actually been really good.
Yeah, I feel like this is the most we've ever eaten at a Windjammer.
Mm-hmm.
Like we did dinner at Windjammer for the first time in all of our cruising. So
yeah, and the Windjammer's been excellent. I'd say it's sort of dinner like lunch and dinner are better than the breakfast.
Yeah.
I think the breakfast
There's only
is
so much you can do with
fine,
breakfast food.
but it's the traditional like fake like scrambled eggs and stuff like that. So. I think if you want, but alternatively, Pearl Cafe actually has excellent breakfast sandwiches.
Yeah, no, their steak and eggs is fabulous.
Is very good. So we got that a couple times. We did Windjammer a couple times. But the theming and stuff for the dinner and the lunches have actually been really good, right?
Yeah.
Like they've had really good Indian food, Mexican food.
Yeah.
They've sort of had really good options, and they've had like multiple nights have had pretty high quality seafood, so like lobster and shrimp and calamari and like all stuff like that, like some fairly high quality food for a buffet, right?
Yep.
And then all the other sort of options have been pretty decent too, like El Loco Fresh, and Base Camp was okay, just like
Base Camp was
snacky food.
fine.
We didn't enjoy the
Aquadome Market.
Aquadome Market.
I think Aquadome Market, quite honestly, is a bit of a swing and the miss. And here's why. I think they pitched it as a food hall experience, which if you are from a city with a food hall, you go up, you order your thing, it's fresh, it's made to order, it's small batches. And Aquadome Market is not that. It's mini Windjammer. The stuff is all pre-made. It's all sitting there.
Except the crepes.
Except for the crepes.
This is all except the crepes.
The crepe itself is already made, but they like heat it up and make yours.
Like fresh fruit and stuff on it.
Fresh fruit and your whatever your drizzle is.
I would say this criticism is exception to that.
Yeah. But everything else, it's pre-made. It's sitting in warmers and you just tell the person what you want and they scoop it for you. And that's kind of not what a food hall is.
It's more like made to order fresh food, like
I was expecting more from this concept, and I think Will has.
I think Windjammer was better.
Stuck the landing. Yeah.
I think Windjammer was better than Aquadome Market.
Yeah, I think Aquadome Market has a lot of promise as a concept. They just didn't quite stick the landing.
Or maybe they even like I even think like a concept for that would be better was like maybe mix it up like they do with the Windjammer. Like have
different
maybe have
stalls.
like each night have a different, or maybe just one that rotates.
No,
or I don't know.
I think they need to stick with the concept that they have. They just need to make it so you go up and you order what you want and it's fresh. Than it is.
Yeah. But no, food in general, very high quality. It all sort of it was pretty good. I think my one issue I think with the ship in general with the food was I don't think they were adventurous enough with the specialty restaurants.
I think we've talked about this. I think they played it very safe with specialty restaurants. They didn't add any new concepts other than the Empire Supper Club and Celebration Table, which are both very high-end price points.
Very high-end. And then Pier 7's new, but it's kind of I call that like a half a restaurant. It's not quite a full restaurant experience.
I would have liked to see them add a newer concept like the Mason jar or just something brand new for this ship. And I understand why they might not have.
Like some Oasis class have done, like Wonderland, and like they've been out of the box kind of like here's a new concept. Yeah. And for such an innovative ship, I think like the fact that it's just like the standard specialty restaurants, like we're not really big fans of Chops. I know like a lot of people are. It's just it's a generic steakhouse. I hate to say it. It really is. And you can get okay steak at like the main dining room for free. And then this one, I don't think it's as controversial. Giovanni's is garbage. Like we didn't have it on this cruise.
Grant went for it.
It's not good. Like we had it on Odyssey. It was really bad.
It was horrible.
And we haven't had it since because of such a bad experience. And we've seen multiple other vlogs. Everyone that tries it for like the first time is very disappointed. Yeah. And I think why we don't like it is because we had such a great experience at Jamie's Italian on Symphony.
Yeah, Jamie's is fabulous. And also, like, not to toot my own horn, but like we have pasta a lot at home. I make pasta, I make sauces.
I think that's a good point though.
And like it's something I do myself and do to toot my own horn very well. And so to come aboard a ship and have such a subpar experience, it's really tough to like
But I think that's also a good point is like a lot of people do pasta at home. Yeah. Right? Italian food is in general,
especially if you're American, it's something
a simpler kind of food to cook, and they have like I don't even know if their pasta was fresh when we had it, right?
And it was definitely fresh at Jamie's.
And it was definitely fresh at Jamie's. Like so, not like Icon might be better. I don't know. Like so, don't hold us to it.
From other reviews we've seen, it doesn't seem.
And the menu just isn't sort of. There's nothing about it that's innovative, either. It's like, oh, you can get a pizza. But why would I pay like $20 for a pizza when I can just go down to Sorrento's and get one for free? Right. And Sorrento's is actually decent. Yeah. And like, I don't know. So That's
Yeah.
my take. Is like I do not like Giamatti's. Like I don't think it's a good choice, and I think Royal should move away from it. Honestly, but aside from that, yeah, that's just our disappointment a little bit with some of the choices. But Azumi is great. So
Izumi
like I
we
think
love. Izumi's fabulous.
And Hooked, we didn't do Hooked on this selling, but we actually really like Hooked as well.
We
I think
love
that's
Hooked,
pretty good.
Yeah.
But
I will say, let's talk about the main dining room for a second, because I think our main dining room experience this ship, we missed a couple of nights, but when we've gone, it's been fabulous.
Yeah.
Our 2 waiters have been some of the best servers we've ever had anywhere.
They've been really good. Yeah, they've been very good.
The food's been fantastic. So I think the main dining room is honestly a big strength on the ship.
I think there's always I think we had one night where we weren't as a huge fan of the meals, but you can almost pick it sometimes where I almost feel like stick with some of the more tried and true meals and they're really good, and sometimes some of their other ones.
And honestly, I probably could have ordered something else, and I just I was tired and I wasn't that hungry either. And I'm sure if I had said something, they would have brought me something else and it would have been fabulous. I just
the main dining rooms have a very good. If you don't like something, definitely just say it and they'll get you something else. So that's I think the benefit of main dining. But overall, Icon's had very good food. I think it's
the food's been fabulous.
Yeah, and I think we didn't
gone hungry,
and we didn't stay in a suite, so we didn't get to try the 2 other restaurants.
I would die to try Coastal.
We know Coastal Kitchen's very good from
fabulous.
our Odyssey cruise, so I'm sure that's really good. But next, let's sort of talk about. I think one of the things we did a lot was go to the bars. I think that's a big feature of Icon is 18 bars?
There's a billion of them.
So you saw in our video yesterday, we tried a whole bunch of them. And I think we don't have to stay on this for too long, but I think it's definitely, they've stepped up the game, I think, with the bar selection. Yeah. There's good variety and there's stuff like the Ryan Bean, which has these awesome coffee cocktails.
Yeah, Ryan Bean has been a highlight.
That was probably one of the best, I would say. That was pretty high up there. There's stuff like 1400, which has a lot of cool Instagrammable cocktails that are fun and they have cool bubbles and all that kind of stuff.
I think another highlight for us was the Swim and Tonic, which is the swim up bar, which is gin-based cocktails. Gin has been very popular on the ship, which I'm a fan of because that's my favorite liquor. I don't know if gin's just having a moment. But no, I think the Swim and Tonic had some really interesting.
But I think just overall, what we talked about one night was we're very impressed that most of the bars were open at different hours of the day and in spots that might not be super busy. So we've found on almost every single ship we've ever been on, once sort of main dining time, 5-6 p.m. hits, all of
everything else shuts down.
The sort of pool deck bars close, or any venues that aren't in the main areas will close, and it will just be these promenade bars or those kind of ones.
Or Central Park bars.
They've kept there's all the lime and coconuts stay open. There might only be one bartender, but they'll have them sort of open. There was there's always someone at the Overlook. There's people at the Hideaway. There's always been people around, which we like. Because sometimes we'll bar hop to find one that's a little quieter or a little more chill. I think they've done really well. I think the bars are pretty good.
Yeah. So let's talk about the ship in and of itself, because I think there's some highs and there's some lows.
Yes.
So I think
this will encompass probably what our sort of negative point we had about the ship, but there's also positive.
There's pros and cons.
Yeah.
So pros, I think when it comes to the design of sort of the Surfside Central Park promenade area, I think how they've integrated those spaces together and made them flow really well is definitely an improvement over.
It flows super well.
Yeah, it's definitely an improvement over the Oasis class ships. The flow is really easy. It's organic. It's it's just really simple to get from one place to another.
You can easily walk from deck 5, which is the main
8.
Promenade, to up to 6, where a second level of promenade. Deck 7, which is the Central Park.
Deck 8 is Central Park.
Sorry, Deck 8.
But you kind of skip Deck 7 and you go up to 8.
You sort of skip it and go up to it. But you can walk all that. You don't have to get elevators.
They made it really easy. They made staircases in between them all. And it flows beautifully. I think where they tried the same thing and maybe missed a little bit is the pool decks on
Yeah.
16, 15, 16, and 17.
Super
It's
confusing.
extremely confusing. It's very convoluted. It would be very hard. We thought about doing a ship tour, and honestly, those decks are so convoluted. We're like, this would be really confusing.
There's like so many dead ends, and like you have to go
like
up
the
and
Winchester
around.
Mystery House of pool decks.
Like you want to get to the hideaway, and it's like, well, okay,
You have to
now
go
I have to
all
go
the way
all the way
through
I have to
Thrill
go,
Water
yeah, like I have to go
Park.
back to sort of the middle of the ship. It's like right above
Yeah.
me, and it's like, oh, I should be able to get up here. No,
No.
I have to go all the way back to like the middle of the ship, go up some stairs near Thrill Island, walk through all the water park,
Yeah.
and then go down
weird.
another set of stairs.
Yeah.
It's that happened a lot of times. Like, oh, we want to get up to like
You have to go downstairs and
Cloud 17. You had to like go up a certain staircase because if you went from the other side of the ship, you would get blocked, and then you had to go into the elevator bank and then go out the other side. It
it's
it
just
was super confusing, and
Yeah.
even after a week, we still don't have it down pat. And this girl here made like 5 deck
I
maps.
make deck maps. That is what I do before I go on a trip. I basically make a chart of like, this is this deck and this is everything on it.
Yeah,
And even with that, that gives me a pretty solid sense of like, this is forward,
Yeah.
this is middle, this is aft on each deck.
Yeah.
And even with that, I was completely lost on the pool
Yeah.
decks. Like I pretty much had like
inside down pat.
5, 6, 7, 8
Yeah.
down pat. And then the pool decks, I was completely lost.
And I think one of the benefits too is I think they have made a good like embarkation. Like I think all of the like gangways and stuff, like the way to get onto all of those and get off the ship and get back on. I think they've done that really well too.
Yeah, they've made that a lot
It all
smoother.
flows into the promenade most of the time very easily, or all that kind of stuff. There's nice little outside areas when you're the running track, and like there's a lot of positives about this ship and its design. And I think they've done a good job for first in class. But
Yeah.
I think now it's probably the
pool deck was just,
transition.
like, a little weird.
Yeah, and I think, all right, let's talk about
The biggest miss.
the biggest miss. I think there's sort of two here, but they kind of gel into the same thing. And this
One.
is not necessarily for everyone. This is for us who are like childless couple who are cruising, and also people that aren't super into loud spaces all the
The
time.
party space.
So first miss is the lack of a solarium. This was a bigger issue than I thought. So looking at the ship, I was like, whatever. There's like the hideaway. It's an adults only area. They've got the same thing. This isn't gonna, they've just called it something different. That's gonna be great. There's an adults only spot. The hideaway is good.
There's two
Don't
issues
get me-
with it.
Yeah. So the hideaway is good. It's fun. However, it's a party.
It's loud.
It's very loud at all times. So there's always music pumping. Even when there's not a DJ, there's always music pumping all the time. And so therefore, there's no real quiet spot. And the solarium was always quiet.
Yeah.
It was a quiet space that you could go away as an adult, go to a place where there weren't children, because children are noisy, generally speaking.
And some of us would like to get away from that.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
And this was not that. So, like, obviously there's no children, but it was designed to be loud and party atmosphere, which for like a little bit's fine. Like we liked it. We hung out there for a little bit, but then we're like, we want to go somewhere to chill. There is nowhere on the ship that is quiet and relaxing.
For adults.
For adults. Yeah, it's the one area we thought would be that option is the Overlook. But the Overlook can't, like, yes, it can be. There are moments in time where it might be. But in general, lots of people, and it's generally because they host a lot of shows and stuff in the Aqua Theater.
It's just loud.
Very loud, the Aqua Theater shows. So that transfers to the sitting area behind.
Yeah.
And there's always a lot of people there and a lot of children as well.
I think the other spot was Cloud 17, which was originally the adults only area. At the last minute before the inaugural sailing, they switched adults only to be the hideaway.
Yeah.
Cloud 17 has that potential. It's above everything. It's on deck 17. It doesn't have like a specific music band or DJ or whatever. It's quieter, except it's not adults only. So there were still children in the pools, in the hot tubs.
Splashing
like, people.
Jumping in, diving under, kicking, multiple. We were in there when there was maybe only 10 people, but there were about 3 kids with goggles on, swimming laps, like even the lifeguard the lifeguard had to tell the like one child twice, and he was still doing it, and we were all
had to get his parent.
Yeah, he had to go get the parent because this kid was kicking water in our
like
drinks,
literally
and
kicking people.
Yeah, and literally bumping into people, and it's like. And it's like, we don't have anything against children. It's just that we're not parents, and we go on vacation to have sort of quiet time. And the ship didn't provide that for us.
And I think what we loved about Solarium on previous ships is it's one, quiet, and two, it's adult only. So you kind of get those two spaces. And the third important part that we didn't realize till the last few days, it's indoor as well. So even when you have some lousy weather, you can still go in there. You have your quiet little enclave. You can still hot tub. You can still be in the pool. You have a bar. And it's still that spot. Icon does not have that.
It has 0 indoor pools, 0 indoor hot tubs, 0 indoor like sunbathing quiet spots. And that was something the Solarium had everything of, right?
We thought the overlook would compensate. It didn't.
No.
And I will also say, I think a lot of Solariums, especially on newer or larger Oasis class ships, have like 4 hot tubs.
Yeah.
The Hideaway has 2.
Yeah, and
so they've kind of cut the adult space in half.
There's 2 hot tubs right next to each other in the Hideaway, and then there's like 6 other hot tubs on the ship, but they're all in the main pool areas.
And all of them had like 20 children.
They literally, it seemed like a children's like play area in every hot tub on the ship at all times.
And one of the Hideaway hot tubs we went in last night wasn't even hot; it was lukewarm.
So I think. Yeah, and I think the no shade, I think, is a big deal, like, as well. Yeah, like, there's no climate control, and there's no shade
on the trip, on the ship.
And that comes into effect, like, when, one, it's really hot weather, but when it's also miserable like this, there's nowhere to escape. Like, so we've been essentially trapped inside the last 2 days. Yeah. It's been like we've been on an Alaska cruise. Like, it's not
quite what we said.
Which, like, it's like normally there's an outlet to that. So I think like the lack of Solarium is a huge negative. Yeah. It almost like ruined the ship for me. The ship. Like, but we said this, like, we actually prefer Symphony.
Yeah, I think Symphony is still our favorite ship.
But okay, one more little thing, and I don't want to niggle too much at the whole like kids adults thing. Surfside is the other. And not Surfside in itself. I think what we were very misled by, I think, with Icon advertising and kind of even the original kind of like, I think, vlogs that came out didn't address this, because I would say 90% of the cruise vloggers that covered Icon did this on the first sailing, which was full of influencers and adults, like very tried and true royal cruisers, right? They go like older people that maybe didn't have kids. So I think on those situations, all of the kids and families probably were contained in Surfside. Because it's always been very busy. So we've generally avoided it. We're like, okay, that's not for us. That's not our demographic. However, that has not contained all of the children and families. They are everywhere. And not super well behaved a lot of the time.
Yeah. And in spaces where maybe it's, as people who are childless adults, maybe in our view, it's not appropriate to have children, like Swim and Tonic. It is a swim up bar.
It's a swim up bar.
It's gin and tonic themed. Why are there children in that pool? If you're in a quiet hot tub and you see couples together, why are you bringing your child into this
also like
intimate space?
Quiet bar in the Overlook. We were there having a nice drink last night. Someone literally had a screaming baby, was holding it like, not even a baby, it was a toddler. He was holding a screaming toddler at the bar, like drinking a gin. Like, it's like, this is not appropriate. Like,
we would go to Virgin, but their pool deck sucks.
Yeah, like, I think what we've realized is if this is how Icon class is, it's maybe not for us. And I don't think it's for, I don't think Icon is, I think they advertise the ship as being good for everyone. I think it's good for families and not... With
the current design, it's not for us. Yeah. Maybe if we could afford a suite, which we can.
Maybe.
Maybe.
But that's not adults only either.
No, but I would hope it would be quieter.
Yeah, I don't know. But Yeah.
I think as of now, Oasis class, particularly Symphony, still has our hearts.
Yeah.
I have a lot of hope for some of the newer Icon class ships like Star and whatever is present.
Yeah.
The third one is that doesn't have a name yet. I know they have looked at some of the things that are flaws with Icon based on feedback. They are looking to improve on those things. I know they are looking to pitch Surfside to a wider range of children because they're like, we want families to be in this area, and that hasn't been the case. So I know they've gotten that feedback and they are looking to adjust, but I would just like some more spaces for adults only because I think that would have greatly improved our experience.
And I think this might not always happen too. Like, I think this was greatly accentuated because of the bad weather we've had the last couple of days. Because there is no indoor pool, indoor hot tub, climate controlled space that's not like inside, everyone is everywhere inside.
It's really exposing the flaws of the ship.
And any hot tubs that were kind of shielded from the wind, they were just full of like little kids playing and stuff. And it's, I don't know. It's a bummer because, like, as I said, I still liked the ship. It was still fun. It just, I almost feel a little misled by the advertising.
Oh, that's a bold statement.
I think they were a little, like, everyone that covered this ship, like, 8 months ago when it came out, was great. They're like, oh, it's fun, like, adults, kids, everyone can have a great time. And I think now that it's kind of settled in a little bit.
Yeah. Which I think was why we wanted to do this cruise, because we're like, okay, we weren't on the inaugural, we're not influencers that were on some of the first sailings, so we can kind of get a feel for what it's like now that it is little settled into itself a little bit. And I think we've, especially because we didn't get amazing weather, we were able to experience some of the flaws and kind of give a little bit more of an honest review of what this ship is like.
And it's honestly the first time I've ever felt a cruise ship crowded. And
it felt very crowded.
Icon, I have to look up the numbers. I'll look it up.
It has less passengers than Wonder.
Yeah, and that's like we've been on Symphony, which is basically the same size. It's like slightly small, much smaller. I think they're very similar passenger numbers, and might be even less.
Icon felt crowded.
It felt crowded in most places. Yeah, like Windjammer was constantly crowded. The cafes were crowded.
Felt very crowded.
The pools were incredibly crowded at all times. Like, for such a large ship, the large ships normally do a really good job of dispersing people.
And that hasn't happened on Icon.
No. Like, it's felt very crowded. And I don't know, we haven't cruised in maybe, 2 years? Maybe they've kind of been a bit more, maybe there are more, because there's more families now.
Yeah.
That occupancy is higher because most cabins are based on double occupancy.
Yeah.
So maybe, family, because there's like double the size sort of cruise families coming. I don't know what it is, but it felt very crowded.
Yeah.
Right?
It's okay.
No, it's fine.
All this, it sounds like we're being really negative, but we honestly have had such an amazing
we've had a great
time.
trip, and I think
been
it's still
so much fun.
I wouldn't not do it again.
Yeah.
But I think
this being the first ship
it's a
in
learning
its class,
experience.
they've definitely got areas to improve on. If I'm giving constructive criticism.
Yeah. Put a solarium back.
Solarium in your ships with a pool. Looking at you, Harmony. You don't have a pool on your solarium.
I don't think it's an unreasonable request considering every single ship in the entire fleet has an indoor solarium, adults only section.
And I think what I would want in my ideal world is yes, keep the hideaway, keep the loud party adults only area because some people want that, some people need that. It's nice sometimes to have that option. Also have the indoor,
have another adult space,
quiet adults only space. Give us both options.
Honestly, I think they just need to kind of do what I think it's Disney does it. They have almost like a neighborhood of adults only. That's like a couple of restaurants and a couple of bars because.
It's really jarring when you're at a bar and you see an 8-year-old walk up.
Yeah. Just a little kid comes up and asks for a soda
a Coke or
while there's people, doing shots.
That didn't happen at all yesterday.
Yeah, multiple times it happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just, it's a little case of it's not perfect for us. And it's also just a little different than what we expected.
That's okay.
Yeah. But still a good experience. I think until they make some changes, we might go back to Oasis class as our kind of preferred.
We'll keep our eye for star of the season, see what changes they make. But yeah, we'll stick with Oasis for now.
But yeah, still a good ship, still a good time. And if you're in its target demographic, it will be great.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. I just think we are not it.
Yeah. But yeah, I think
that's a review of Icon of the Seas.
And I think that is a wrap to our Icon of the Seas vlog series. Yeah, that's where we're headed out tomorrow. It's the final night now, and we're leaving in the morning.
Yeah, y'all don't need to see Miami Airport.
Yeah, but if you haven't seen those other videos, head back to the playlist where we've got like, what, 7 of these?
Go. Zip lining, we swim in cenotes. It's good times. Go check it out.
Yeah, and if you want to see our future travels, we've got some other exciting trips coming up.
Where are we going next?
Well, we'll say it. Why not? We're going to Ireland. Yeah,
we're going to Dublin.
Yeah, so we're doing that soon. So
Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah, so definitely hit subscribe to see that future videos, and we got some other trips already planned for next year. So stay tuned.
Hit that subscribe button. It helps us so much, and stay tuned for further adventures.
Yeah, see you next time.
Hey.
Bye.